I hope you're all ready. So, yes, please hit enter and let us know where you're from. Wonderful. So we have Patrick from Kenya, we have Sarah from Bath, Anita from Nepal, Ram from iPass Lucknow. We have Mohammad Hanzala from Smart NGO, Shrishti from iHat, Anvesha from Sanmat, Leena from NHSRC, Sukirti from Jabaigo, Shiv from IPE, Saad from Bath, Anishri from ICMR, Sona from TIS. We have Himanshi, who is a college student. We have Ridhima, and we have Mohammed Bakar. Thank you so much for this. And Ritesh, over to you. And one quick request, as Ritesh is going taking us over through this workshop. If you have any questions that you would like Ritesh to answer, please use the chat function, and you can post your questions. We'll try to take them at the end of the workshop or during the workshop. And please be active, please be responsive. This is an interactive one, and we'd love.
Thanks, Pallavi. So we missed Dr. Jyati from Palladium and Mohammed Bakar from Azim Premji Foundation, and we also have now Dr. Nishant from Tamil Nadu. So I request, because I'll be navigating the presentation, so if you have any question or any challenges, please open your audio and respond to that, so that I'm able to hear and clarify you. And as Pallavi mentioned, let's make it more interactive, please. So let me know if my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, Ritesh, we can see it.
Okay. So I believe you might be seeing the title page, right?
Yes.
Great. So just give me one more second. Yeah, so thanks, Pallavi, for inviting me for this session. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session. My name is Ritesh Aeron, and I'll be learning with you all through this session and how to make the proposal more effective. I do believe that writing a proposal is not an easy task. Um, Often it is frustrating, because we are trying to cook a dish for a group of people with varying taste, with different kind of expectations. It is really very challenging. So, uh, but it is not impossible. So, like I mentioned initially also, if you have any kind of a question or if you have any kind of challenges you have ever faced while writing the proposal, we can start. We can still take a minute. We can point it down, and accordingly, it is going to help me in structuring my presentation. So, I'm again taking a minute. If some of you have worked down in any of the proposal, what kind of challenges you have ever faced in writing the proposal, if you can slightly brief me about it, that is going to. Anyone, you can text also, or whatever way it is feasible or convenient to you. Uh, Developing theory of change. Great. Any other? Okay. So, Veena, you actually nailed it. Theory of change is the most challenging part, but it is going to come at a place wherein uh, it is a solicited requirement. So I'm going to cover a lot of aspects about the proposal also. So let me start. Okay, so Saad also mentioned major aspect of comprehensive proposal, things that are must. Great, Saad. So, like in today's world, the problem is we are trying to engage with the funding agency, with the donor through the proposal, and that is the only pitch that we have. So, uh, writing proposal is like a pitch. to a brilliant idea, it's all about making them believe that you are offering them what they are broadly visualizing, the challenge. I'm going to repeat certain words here. What they are visualizing, and you are actually putting it into the actuality. So it is a super competitive funding environment where everyone wants to look like the next big thing. A proposal is the only solution through which you can actually make them understand that what you have in mind. And we are going to touch upon all these ingredients that are going to make a proposal more informed proposal. I'm not going to talk about proposal which is immaculate, because no immaculate terms exist as such. It is all about making a more informed proposal. So, like we discussed, what is the difference between grant proposal and commercial proposal? Grant proposals are more focused towards securing funding from the donors, and they are more about social impact, sustainability, and scalability, while commercial proposal is all about return on investment, how they align with the goal of the investor. So, when you are making the proposal, you should be very, very clear about it, that whether this is a grant proposal or commercial proposal. Again, if we bifurcate the type of proposals, so there are solicited proposals. So solicited proposals are the proposals against wherein the donor has already released one RFP. So if we are talking about, so very recently USAID has published the RFP of somewhere around $40 million for comprehensive primary healthcare piece. So it is a solicited RFP wherein they have even defined the structure, that what they are looking at, what kind of theory of change, what kind of clientele they want to serve, geography, the pieces. Uh, then the second comes as an unsolicited proposal. So unsolicited proposals are proactively initiated when without a formal request. So there is no background to this. They are typically to introduce something which is innovative, like Path has something innovative related to telemedicine, and they are trying to pitch it to say SIF or BMGF or USAID. So this comes under the category of unsolicited proposal. The third kind of proposal is continuation proposal. So you have a ongoing grant with, say, BMGF, and you want to pitch something to them which may be directly aligned, maybe extension to the existing project, or something which is going to cover some more specific area to the project. So it is going to come under the category of continuation proposal. The renewal proposal is something wherein you have an ongoing grant and the timelines are about to expire. So when you will get something like a no cost extension, these comes under the category of renewal proposals. Then we have some informal proposals also. These proposals are typical kind of proposal that are less structured but often used for preliminary discussion. So you have some idea. So suppose you want to work into the urban area and you want to introduce, say, tertiary care into the urban health piece. So something innovative, or maybe developing something as a software as a medical device in primary and secondary care. So this is something which is very, very innovative. So this comes under informal proposal. Supplementary proposals are the proposal that request for additional funding because of certain constraints that you have gauged during the operational implementation of the project. So any doubt here? So the next slide is then something which is more challenging again. So when you are submitting a proposal, how these proposals are going to get evaluated? So proposals are generally being evaluated through various methods, depending on the specific requirement of the project. So herein I'm talking more about the solicited project, because in rest of the cases, you really don't know what the criteria is going to be. So a well-written proposal herein actually helps the donor or the funding agency to gauge that how much your proposal is aligned. Even in the proposal, whatever evaluation criteria that they have defined for the evaluation of the proposal, you will have to align your proposal accordingly, and it is going to help them in making the informed decisions. So broadly, in solicited proposal, I'm again talking, this is something which is very, very specific to solicited proposal. So in solicited proposal, they are going to mention broadly three kind of evaluation criteria. One is going to be the lowest cost. So suppose you have to set up 500 health and wellness center, or you have to operationalize 500 health and wellness center in across Uttar Pradesh. So whomsoever is offering the lowest cost, they are going to get the fund. The second thing would be that you are going to evaluate the um, responding entities or agencies that are applying to the solicited grant on certain evaluation criteria. So you have set up, so if you have more than 400 people, you'll be getting 10 marks. If you have implemented 10 different kind of projects into comprehensive primary healthcare, you'll get 8 marks. So based on this, certain criteria is defined. And out of 100 or out of X number, if you are getting Y plus number, you are qualified. But at the same time, against all the qualified bidder, whomsoever is quoting the lowest cost, they are going to give the proposal to that very entity. So this comes under qualified bidder with lowest cost. And last and the most important now, which is followed across, is quality come cost-based selection. So herein, you evaluate the entire technical proposal on certain parameters, and against these certain parameters, you'll give them some markings. And then these technical markings become your technical score. And you'll give certain weightage to these technical scores. And at the same time, the financial bid is also open, and you'll allocate certain scores to these financial bids also. So I'm giving you one example. I'm taking hypothetical example. So entity X has scored say 100 marks in technical, and they have got quoted 20 CR, while entity Y, they have scored 130 marks in technical, and they have scored 22 crore. So then there is a certain weightage that is going to be given. So like nowadays it is 70-30 or 80-20. So assuming we are giving 70% score to the technical, so it comes to be 70% into 100, say 70, and 30% weightage we are going to give to the technical. So herein this entity X, which has quoted 20, is going to get straight away 30 numbers because their bid is lowest. So 70 plus 30 is say 100. But if we are going to look at the 130 entity, they are going to score 7 into 133, 91 in technical, and in their case, their score is going to be divided by 20 because 20 is the lowest. And then it is to be multiplied by 30. So this comes around 26. So now they are going to score 91 plus 26, that is 117. So this is the way it is being calculated. And quality come cost based selection is the criteria through which nowadays most of the bids are being evaluated. So before we jumped into the various aspects of the proposal, I really like to highlight that a proposal is something which is way beyond just a document. It is your elevator pitch, it is your business plan. Um, we can say it is a movie trailer that you have visualized and that you are going to create when once you have the funding from the donor, and what it really the document really needs to hook to the reader. If they are going through your document, it should navigate freely. uh, it should keep them engaged, make them say that this is exactly what they need when they were visualizing this project. So coming back to the components of the proposal, so if we are talking about executive summary, problem statement, objective, proposed solutions, definitely we are going to talk about more in detail. But just taking a step back, because now I realize that I missed this slide also. Uh, uh, every proposal has some core components that are within. So even if we are talking about, say, introduction, within the proposal, because I have covered mostly the broad components. But uh, after the executive summary, if we are putting an introduction, and from the introduction we are highlighting the kind of ecosystem that is going to be there, or what is the present status, what is the background. From the background, we actually gauge what is the problem statement. And this is what the donor is trying to resolve from his funding. So basically, a problem statement that makes the audience care about, and this is what you have to paint. It has to be bit emotional, it has to be bit dramatic, but should not be more dramatic. You should talks about facts here, you should talks about where you are supposed to put the money when you are visualizing the challenges. So you'll have to obviously escalate the problem, escalate the reasons behind the problem, and your because your entire solution is all about answering this problem statement. I also like to request you that when you are working on the problem statement, after um, documenting the entire proposal, do look at the problem statement. This is something which is very, very important. When you make the entire proposal, come back to this problem statement and look at it whether the problem that you have highlighted, your entire problem statement is getting resolved when your entire project is concluded or not. If it is not happening, whatever sections that are not get covered by the proposal, remove these specific sections from the problem statement, because the proposal is all about answering the problem statement. Second thing is, when you are defining the approach and methodology of the project, you have to be sure that your approach, methodology, your objectives are very, very, you can follow the SMART matrix, wherein they can be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound also. Uh, but in every aspect, try to ensure that whatever objective, whatever approach you are taking into the system is conclusive enough. It is not something which is open-ended, that can be inferred or interpreted in altogether different way by the donor, or the way you are interpreting is not clearly coming within the proposal also. We talked about methodology also. Methodology broadly defines that how exactly you are going to execute the project. The major difference that is going to happen between the entity X and entity Y is all about, because the problem is broadly going to be the same. So how you are going to execute, what kind of methodology you are going to follow as part of this entire project is going to make the difference. So methodology, project approach and methodology is the most important, most crucial part of this entire project. Put lot of focus, bring lot of perspective into it. When you are working on any proposal, try to ensure that rather than working alone, work with a team of people, let them bring their different perspective to this approach and methodology, making it more collaborative, more operationally viable in the actual operations. Uh, Very broad, we are obviously going to discuss in detail budget. So nobody likes to be surprised at the end when they have looked at your entire proposal, and uh, they are convinced also. And then your budget is coming, which is something maybe exorbitant or not totally aligned with the approach that you have placed. So whenever you are actually talking about the budget, do ensure that you'll cover most of the components that you have mentioned in the approach and methodology, that maybe in detail also, like you mentioned operationalization of say 100 health and wellness center. So if it requires the infrastructure, if it requires the amount for mobility also, if it requires some kind of IEC also, all these components should clearly come into the budget. And even with this caveat that if something is to be pushed to others, so like in most of the cases, infrastructure, IEC, no donor want to spend on these aspects. So definitely you can again get back to them that if you don't want it, we can eliminate from this project, and then we can try to get this done through other entities, maybe funding through CSR, or maybe we can align this entire initiatives, these specific project activities through government also, from NHM or from other aspects also. So again, something we should always keep in mind. And last and most important part is the evaluation criteria. Like we mentioned, in solicited proposal, they know how to evaluate the proposal. They must have defined the metrics that these are the aspects they want to focus upon. So suppose in one of the evaluation criteria, they mentioned that you should have a team of say 40 individuals. The project manager should have this kind of qualification, this kind of experience. So when you are even making the proposal, do ensure that even in terms of evaluation matrix, even the resources also are typically aligned. Even the project you have done in past, the experience that your organization have, if they are not aligned, try to request the bidder to also incorporate these kind of experience into the proposal or into the RFP or into the evaluation criteria, so that your organization gets due weightage into the evaluation. So these are five, uh, four, five broad points I want to discuss before we get into the actual components of the project. So when we are talking about the executive summary, obviously it is the first thing that the audience are going to read. So try to make it more inclusive, more engaging, and try to grab their attentions with the little actionable words, emotional pitch. Um, the second thing is, in the executive summary, clearly present the issue you are going to address. At point of times, what while sitting on the other side of the table, we have seen is people, the agencies, entities are responding to they are drafting the proposal, and their executive summary is very, very lucid. It is not clearly coming from this entire executive summary that what they are going to do. Obviously, you have to in two, three lines touch upon that this is the problem statement. Two, three lines, this is how you are going to respond to the problem. And in next maybe five, six line, the impact you are going to create. So it should always cover three aspects: the problem statement, the approach you are going to follow, and the impact it is going to create. Uh, should be something which is very, very strong call, and the actions that you are going to bring into this entire project. And do ensure that there is no ambiguity. It should not happen that in the executive summary you are mentioning something, some impact, that if I'm looking at the conclusion or if I'm looking at the deliverables, they are not aligned. Please do ensure that the executive summary is sum of the entire proposal, broadly talking about only three aspects. In large proposals, say 100-page proposal, there is no limit to executive summary. But if you are submitting a 20-page proposal, do ensure that it should not be more than say 1/10 or 1/15 of your entire proposal. So if it is a 20 pager proposal, the executive summary should not be more than one pager. And if it is a 100-pager proposal, it should not be more than 2-3 pages. The second thing is the problem statement. So when we are talking about the problem statement, it is all about why you are writing this entire proposal. Try to use as much as much data as you can use. Uh, Try to take the references from other uh, projects, other countries, other proposals, other RFPs, other surveys that have highlighted that this is a real life this is a real life problem, and which actually supplements your assumption to the problem. At point of time, the problem that they have indicated has more problems that are beneath that problem. So even in the problem statement, if your proposal is answering to those problems, do add these examples also, these challenges also, these problems also into the proposal to make it more inclusive, more informed proposal. The next thing in the problem statement is highlighting the significance of the problem and emphasizing the urgency to address it now, because if you are implementing something down the line, maybe after 1 year or 2 years, the problem may not be relevant. So whenever you are writing a problem, don't quote something which is a 5 year back data. So quote something which is very, very recent, something which is even coming up as a recommendations from WHO, from other such documents highlighting the challenges. And if it is not addressed today, it is going to be a major challenge tomorrow. Do ensure this. The third thing is the proposed solution. Sorry, I missed the objective. Um, so in the objective, if we are talking about the project objective, we mentioned that it has to be it can follow any kind of a framework in most of the cases, and most of the donor expect the framework to be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, because this framework broadly provides lot of clarity, sets the expectation in the mind of the reviewer or the donor, and gives lot of confidence um, about your plan that you're trying to visualize or you're trying to implement as part of this project. So something which is very, very relevant. Um, and lastly, the proposed solution. So this section is your canvas. This section is going to give you the opportunity to showcase something that is viable, feasible, impactful, and scalable also. Explain uh, how your approach will address this problem effectively, and why your solution is the best solution when it is being compared with any other proposal. So this is something which is very, very important. Uh, I also emphasize once again that when you are writing the project approach and you're developing a methodology, and because someone, I just missed the name, sorry, someone even talked about the theory of change. So your theory of change or project approach and methodology are broadly the same things. The only difference is actually in theory of change, you'll have a baseline assessment, and then you'll propose a model which is going to create the outcome, impact, and deliverables. So this is the way theory of change is being developed. But in lots of the project, because we are talking about solicited, unsolicited, informal proposal, continual proposal. So in those proposals, it is all about project approach and methodology. So related to theory of change, because I have not covered that very aspect very specifically into this presentation, but I'll be more than happy to, if you have any specific questions on the theory of change, I'm going to give you a very, very specific framework for theory of change also, that you can implement when you're writing any kind of project proposal also. Getting back to, sorry, I was talking about approach and methodology. So when we are making a project approach, do ensure that you follow certain specific models also. So suppose I'm going to implement something in health system strengthening. I can I can have a model from WHO 6 pillar model, because it is going to touch upon all of the aspects. And even in health system strengthening is one of the pillar also, but how it is integrated to all other pillars, and why health system strengthening is the most important pillar. Or maybe if we are implementing something related to, say, access to medicine, availability of medicine. Availability of medicine is not going to happen standalone. It requires doctor also that are going to write, backed by the laboratories. After evidences, only the doctors are writing, and then when they are writing, medicine should be available across the facility. So you should choose any scientific model. It is going to help you in elevating your pitch also, and giving you. So again, I'm giving you one more example. Uh, Even in the proposal, even if you are covering one of the aspect, uh, very critical thing, and this is what maybe donor, maybe government, or maybe a commercial entity also want to understand, that uh, when it is being implemented, would it be feasible for them to implement the same model into other geography, into their other offices, into maybe, can this be created as an operational guideline that can be replicated across also? So these kind of aspects should be there in the approach and methodology and proposed solution framework. We are going to cover these three aspects, and then I'm going to take a pause maybe for 5 minutes, wherein we are going to discuss your specific questions related to this area. The next is the implementation plan. So plan provides a clear roadmap for executing the project. It includes clear timelines, key milestones, role of each of the stakeholders, dependency on the stakeholder. It is even going to talk about what kind of assumptions do we have, or what kind of dependencies do we have on the others while executing the entire project. This implementation plan also document demonstrate our understanding of um, what it how the project is going to be successfully implemented across the region, because we are not going to implement the project in one go. We might initially going to do the pilot. After doing the pilot, we might have certain phases also, phase one, two, three, wherein maybe we are going to start with uh, initially in the pilot we have say touched upon only two health and wellness center. Now we are going to do 20. Rather than 20 to 100, we might have an intermittent phase also, wherein we are going to expand from 20 to maybe 50, and then finally 100. So implementation plan is again something which is very, very specific, that needs to highlight detail that how you are going to execute the project, and it is again going to come from your approach and methodology. The next is budget and ROI. ROI is more specific to commercial proposals, while budget is more related to any kind of proposal. So providing an itemized budget detailing the justification for each of the expense also. We also have to look at the RFP. So when we are responding to the proposal, we might come across that some of the donors, some of the entities are very specific that they are not going to give you any money on the infrastructure. So like this is something which is very, very common when it comes to say USAID, BMGF. You can't buy a laptop or a mobile phone or a tablet and give it to say Asha or ANM. You can't do that, right? So lot of restrictions are already there in the proposal to ensure that your budget is taking care of all of these aspects. You should your project your budget is itemized with detailed justification, uh, and if it is feasible, post this budget, try to do a cost benefit analysis also, or maybe something why at least we'll try to ensure that we'll do some kind of return on investment projections also, to show that if they are investing say X amount on this project, the overall leveraging that they are getting out of this project is maybe x raised to the power 5, x raised to the power 10. And this is something which is very, very critical for the decision maker who need to see tangible returns. I'll again give you real life example also. So when you are getting any money from USAID, they very, very specifically mention that how you are going to leverage this money. And the response to this could be USAID for this project has given us 2 million project, and from this 2 million we actually helped the government in writing the project implementation plan, and through these project implementation plan they have um, uh, they got more money into their NHM fund, NHM kitty, and this money was say 1,000 crore or 100 crore or 50 crore. So straight away, 2 million is like 16 crore, 17 crores, and out of this 17 crore, you actually leverage say 85 crore. So it is something which is 5 times of the initial money that was given to you by USAID. So this kind of return on investment is always very appealing to the donors and funder. And last and most important aspect of the project is sustainability plan. So sustainability plan should very clearly come into your executive summary also. It is very much articulated in your approach and methodology also. And you should also add a specific section on sustainability plan also, that how this fund or how this project is going to be long term beneficial for the society, for donor, for government. Highlight how your solution can be scaled, how it is going forward more financially viable, And this section also highlight the donor that this impact is everlasting impact. It is not going to be something which is very, very short term. So here also I like to highlight. So suppose you have started a telemedicine system for UP because of the funding from the government. And after this, the sustainability plan is that it should operate even when the funding from the donor is out, right? So what you have done is you have actually transferred the entire piece to government or entire piece to non-government entity, and now they are maintaining this funding. They are maintaining this project through some CSR, or now it is backed by government. So it is something which is sustainable. So donors are only keen if they are seeing that when once they are out of the picture, the project is sustainable. And lastly, by combining all these elements based on the proposal or based on your understanding of the project, we can create a comprehensive, well-informed proposal that that can be logical, emotional, and maybe uh, articulated in a manner which can actually set the stage for success in any evaluation process. So now I'm just taking a pause because it should not be something which is overburdening you. So now, if you have any question, I'll be more than happy to take specific question at this stage.
In case you have any questions, please feel free to unmute your mics and ask. Or you can also write it in the chat.
Even if any of the aspect of the project is
Hi,
not
Ritesh.
thoroughly. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, please.
Hi, Ritesh. Ram this side from iPass Supplement Foundation. So I just want more suggestion on the A&M part, which I have experience of writing some A&M in my previous jobs, but not in current job. What I feel that what you suggested, that do select a model which reflects your work, or which reflects your implementation plan in the proposed area of the RFP. But what I feel that when for a particular RFP, more than one agency or two agencies or three agencies are putting their A&M part, and I think the model which I am taking in my proposal may be the same way taken by the others agency also, like WHO model which we have suggested for the health system strengthening. So, what others uniqueness which we can add in the A&M part, so that it's create a
Create the
specific
impact.
impression in the mind of this proposal evaluator, or this grant agency which has floated the RFP, to increase our chances for the selection, mainly for the A&M part. Ritesh, if you can add.
Perfectly fine. Any other question regarding this or any other aspect? Okay. So I might be misunderstood in this very specific case. So when I'm saying follow a model, I'm not saying you are replicating a model. What I'm saying is you take the outline from this model. So like we are talking about say health system strengthening model, and say uh, maybe any other model also. You just take the outline from the model. Approach in methodology is all about that how you are going to detail the outlines, right? Because and why I'm saying so, use the outline because these are time tested, something which even the donor is also aware of, which the evaluating team might be aware of because they are also coming from the public health side, so they are very well aware of. But the detailing between these outlines you are making is going to make the difference. If you can give any specific I really don't know. Maybe end of this session, maybe for 10-15 minutes we can take a real-time example, and I'll suggest if you can pull any of the RFP or any published RFP that is very recently been published and yet to be closed, we can discuss any such RFP, and we can discuss that how we can create approach and methodology for this kind of RFP, right? Am I able to answer your question, or now we have
No, no.
almost 25 plus participants. Anyone have any
Yes.
thought around this? I'll be more than happy to take real-time example and help you that how you can navigate your approach and methodology. Meanwhile, let me search also if I have something available readily with me, something which is in past, which is already being executed and completed, and so that I can showcase you something. And perfectly fine. So next point that we are going to talk about is uh, we are not able to see this. We broadly, yeah. So structure of effective proposal. We broadly discuss something. This is something which is again I'm trying to reiterate. So for the success of any kind of proposal, do a lot of research. Uh, Try to be uh, an investigative detective. Try to review each current policy, each current recommendation, uh, guidelines, priorities that are coming up with the government or from international entities, from the donors, from the WHO, from Asian Development Bank, World Bank, etc. Try to do a lot of research, understand the policies, initiative, and funding priorities. And your proposal should be aligned to these framework to demonstrate the relevance and value to decisions makers. Uh, Highlight how your project directly addresses a pressing public need or align with the specific government program. Because uh, aligning with the specific government program or challenging the critical problem statement of the community actually help uh, to uh, gauge the strength of your organization. I'll give again a very specific example here. So suppose as part of again 100 health and wellness center, you're trying to implement. But at the same time, because every health and wellness center roughly have a population of say 1,000 beneficiaries, or in the catchment area they have 1,000 of population. So 100 into 1,000 roughly translates to say 10 lakh. So you are touching only 10 lakh. But in the same proposal, if you are even mentioning that as part of the outreach activity, um, the the ANMs at the health and wellness centers on maybe on Saturday are even going to do outbound activities, and they'll go to the outside the villages also, maybe to certain common areas on Sundays, and they are going to do NCD screening also. So within the same budget, and NCD is a problem statement which is not because you have the work. So okay, sorry, uh, really sorry. So suppose you are supposed to run the 100 health and wellness center which is more focused toward NCD, and you mentioned that every Sunday we are going to do outreach activity in a slum area, wherein we are going to screen every female, whether they are into their reproductive cycle or not. So you are actually screening them only for NCD, which is part of the project. But at the same time, you are delivering the services which are even critical for reproductive cycle also. So same project, same thing, but you have actually increased the number of beneficiaries also. And you within this problem, you highlighted that NCD is obviously very common, something which need to be answered, but it is more need to be calibrated when it comes to reproductive cycle also, because during the reproductive cycle, during the pregnancy, the major implications are coming because of diabetes and hypertension and anemia. And these are again NSAIDs. So same project, but now you have repurposed the entire problem statement so as to answer more beneficiaries here. The third thing is the is quantifying the impact of your project. Use data to illustrate how it will it is going to benefit the community, whether through job creation, whether through economic growth, whether through financial inclusion, whether through decrease in out-of-pocket expenditure or improving the public services. Put concrete numbers for everything to strengthen your case and showcasing a measurable outcome. The next thing is outlining the scalability and application. So we already mentioned this. Uh, Presenting a plan, specific plan for sustainability, how your project will be funded beyond the initial grant period, mentioning potential funding sources during the project also by government, by CSR, and strategies for maintaining the operations, strengthening the operations within the project duration also, and handing over the entire project for sustainability to government or to any other entities post operations also are something that are very, very crucial. And lastly, post funding maintenance and management, how the project will be managed during the initial funding phase also. How uh, uh, how many of you have any idea about audits? Anyone of you have any idea about audit, or have you ever faced any audit, project audit? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
Ritesh, we
you're
can hear
audible.
you.
So
Yeah.
any of you ever face any kind of project audit? I do believe this is something which is a bit technical. So and because you all are young people, so what happen is when you are getting the money from the donors, there is a very specific clause also that they can review the project um, between the course of project implementation also, and they even mention specific criteria also. You are supposed to submit the weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, and annual report also. You will have to submit all your budget detailing, etc., and everything. And all these comes within the project plan, implementation project plan, wherein you are supposed to put a person for communication side also. You are supposed to put a person for commercial activities, managing the contracts, etc., and everything, and even a financial person also who is going to maintain the entire fund, right? So you have to very specifically for the large funding, you will have to address how this project is going to be maintained during the course of the project, what kind of people are going to review the outcomes. And another very important aspect is that how you are going to create the impact out of this is this project. So in most of the cases, when the funding of the project is more than $1 million, you are supposed to carry out an impact assessment from the third party. That all this aspect should also be there, how you are going to maintain and manage the project during the course and after also. So this is something which is a well-known thing. When you're writing any proposal, you have to be clear and concise. You have to engage with data and stories, and you have to tell and prove your expertise. So I'm not going to detail this. This is something which is universal. Everyone knows that. And let me try to do a quick wrapping here, and so that we can discuss some more live examples. Uh, just give me a second. So there are certain pitfalls also used. Okay. At point of time, suppose I am from say technical background, I am from say clinical background. I am going to look at the problem from more clinical perspective. I am going to give a solution which is something which is more clinical, something which is best in class. But I really don't know uh, when the reviewer is going to read it, whether it is aligned with their technical expertise, whether they are equipped enough to have this kind of technical information also. So don't get into this. Try to use language um, which is comprehensible to everyone, be it a technical person, be it a financial person, because you really don't know who is going to be in the committee. Uh, do detail certain aspects, technical aspects also, do detail them, but try to ensure at most of the places that it is not going to be something which is very, very technical with lot of technical judgment. Uh, Try to put lot of focus on proposal guidelines. Your proposal should not be misaligned to any of the guidelines also. So suppose they have specified that the objective should be in 100 words. It has to be in 100 words. If your somebody is to be in 500 words, it has to be in 500 words. Your proposal should not be aligned or should not ignore to any of the project specific guidelines. Um, Even if you're making any claims or if you're submitting any of the objective also, don't support with any unsupported documentation. Try to write in active voices. Uh, Even if it is possible, try to connect with the donors in the early stages, try to seek their feedback. And if you have any past experience also, you can refer to that. And if you don't have any past experience, try to ensure that in past, if they have released 10 grants, uh, look at those grants, look at those proposals, look at the implemented proposals also, how they have implemented it, so as to gauge that what they might have proposed in the approach and methodology. This kind of steps are actually going to help you in making a more informed proposal. And now let me try to pull certain examples also. And meanwhile, if any one of you have actually fetched any of the RFP, they can share it. And I'll be more than happy to deliberate on that RFP. We still have, I believe, 20 minutes to go. Okay, sorry, I missed the chat in between. Developing theory of change. Yes, we discussed UN-centric proposal forms are tricky. Aditi, totally agree, because they have very, very specific guidelines when you are making an informed proposal. Yes, you have to align to all these, and even at point of time, the legal aspects are also something which is very, very tricky. So you have to put someone from the legal side, regulatory side also, so as to align your proposal against this. Major aspect of a comprehensive proposal things that are must. I believe we have discussed this. Okay, so it was at 11:14. Saad, if you still feel that there are certain gaps, I'll be more than happy to take it. Pallavi, would it be possible that you can pull any of the RFP that is very recently published by BMGF or SIF or
Sure,
USAID, so
sure.
that
Just give me a moment. Yeah.
please. Persuasive writing to convince the funder that your idea and strategy are best possible for the target audience. Okay, we can take this as a suggestion. Just an example, some of the most common approaches in healthcare for include health, belief model, and socio-economic ecological model. Uh, yeah.